Fast track to second year at UTS, Australia's #1 young university in the heart of Sydney. Study at the newest and best campus right here in Colombo. Modern technology labs and classrooms. Highly qualified lecturers with small class sizes. Study business, IT or engineering. Sydney is a top 10 best student city.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's great to see so many agents and students here today. My name is Alison Hiscox, and I'm the principal of UTS Sri Lanka. We're running this webinar from different parts of the world, so if we do experience any technical challenges, please bear with us. So our webinar today focuses on the Faculty of Engineering and IT from the University of Technology, Sydney, and the exciting opportunity for students to study the first year of their IT or their engineering degree here with us in Sri Lanka. The webinar will provide students with the opportunity to stay on track with their studies, and it will provide agents with valuable information that will help them counsel students. So just briefly, some of the great benefits that we offer here at UTS Sri Lanka include the completion of year 1 of UTS in 8 months, the ability to then transfer to Sydney year 2 with full credit, and also affordable fees and generous scholarships. So what we are going to cover here today, in addition to those benefits, we're going to be hearing from one of our Sri Lankan lecturers and also one of our students. We'll receive an overview of UTS's Faculty of Engineering and IT, and also enjoy a virtual experience from the faculty. A graduate's perspective, an overview of UTS Insearch's Engineering and IT programs, a summary of why UTS Sri Lanka is such a great option, particularly today, and then we'll have a question and answer session. Now, I'd like to just remind you to, and we're going to do that at the end. So if you could be just putting in your questions into the question and answer section on screen as we go, so we make sure that we cover off on everything that you want to know. All right, so let's meet our presenters today. So we have Mr. Kasun Sankalpa. Kasun is one of our UTS Sri Lanka engineering lecturers. We have Ms. Vishnie Babeendran. Vishnie is an engineering student from Sri Lanka at the campus. Dr. Alan Sixsmith, Director of Teaching and Learning from the Faculty of Engineering and IT. Ms. Stephanie Himsley from the same faculty. We have Dr. Damith Herath, Associate Professor in Robotics and Art, and he is a UTS Engineering graduate, and Ms. Jasmine Cheng, Engineering and IT Program Manager at UTS Insearch Sydney. So I think over to you now, Sankalpa.
Hi everyone, good morning to all of you. I am Kasun Sankalpa, currently working as an engineering lecturer in UTS Insearch Sri Lanka. For those who are eager to do the engineering studies, I will explain you why choosing the Faculty of Engineering UTS Insearch is a better option. Let me put it in this way. The world today is facing a lot of issues that concern economy, health, technology, and many other sectors. So there is a need for the engineers skilled in innovation and leadership with the right education as well as the experience. If you are eager to be such an engineer, I would say the best place to kick off your journey is the UTS Insearch Sri Lanka. The UTS is an institute that aims to enhance the quality of the engineering studies and support the ability of the graduates to fulfill the needs of the society. Let me tell you why. This is based on several factors. Most importantly, we deliver solid, well-rounded academic programs grounded in theories and the applications in engineering. And also we facilitate practical works with modern technical instruments is a core component of our coursework as we aim to produce career-ready graduates who are fully capable of tackling the issues in modern engineering projects. And also we will allocate some separate time slots for the practical workshops in mathematics as well. We conduct classes that are small in number of students because we promote the student-centered learning environment here in UTS Sri Lanka. The UTS is the best place to provide the individual attention that the students need. As a lecturer with my experience in UTS Sri Lanka, I can recommend these engineering subjects and their contents for these students because they are well fitted for the modern job market. And also, it's a great opportunity for all the students in Sri Lanka and subcontinent to work with the best modern technical instrument in a very friendly environment here in Sri Lanka. Since there are only few students in one classroom, student engagement in the academic activities is evidently high. As we allocate a separate time slot for the cooperative workshop practicals, the active participation of the students in the academic activities has gotten better. UTS Insearch offers students in Sri Lanka and the subcontinent the privilege to experience the same learning environment as in UTS in Australia. So you don't have to move to Australia. Instead of that, you will get the same learning opportunity, same learning environment here right in Sri Lanka. After the coronavirus pandemic broke out, we had moved our lessons to virtual classroom during the quarantine. So we have been delivering well-planned online lectures for past 7 weeks. And I can assure you that our virtual classrooms are as successful as our real classrooms. We are paying the same amount of attention for the students. We can engage with them in the interactive sessions and the breakout rooms as well. Due to all these reasons, I can highly recommend you, I can highly encourage you to take your first step, take your initial step to UTS Insearch Sri Lanka for a holistic educational experience.
Thank you very much for that, Sankalpa. Next up, I'll be speaking to Vishnie. Vishnie is one of our current engineering students in Colombo. So Vishnie, I have some questions for you.
Thanks, Alison.
Hi, how are you, Vishnie?
I'm doing good. How are you, Miss Alison?
Thank you. Very well, thanks. Okay, so Vishnie, what has been helpful for you in starting your UTS studies here in Colombo?
I would say that by doing my first year UTS studies here in Sri Lanka, I have molded and adapted myself to the Australian teaching techniques and to an environment similar to the one present there. So this in result has brought the confidence in me that once I move to Australia, I would have the ability to face any kind of a situation and tackle it easily because I have obtained similar experience already here.
Okay, thanks for that, Vishnie. So what specific advice would you give to a student who's considering joining the Colombo campus?
I guess joining UTS Sri Lanka is one of the wise decisions you have taken towards the betterment of your future, because UTS is definitely going to guide you and help you achieve your goals easily. But having said that, you've also got to work hard and organize your things to get good grades. Moreover, it's always better for you to work towards your assignments and projects well before the due date so that you don't get stressed out towards the last moment.
Okay, good advice there. Thank you, Vishnie. So, and my last question for you is that if you had to pick one key standout from your studies so far, what would that be?
It was a field trip that we were taken on to this constructional side of a hotel, which was 30-story. So this was like a part of a civil engineering module, and we had the opportunity to explore and view various things within the constructional site. And we were given the opportunity to experience how it would be to work as a civil engineer. So what I felt from this was that UTS is not an institute which just focuses on the theoretical knowledge which is delivered to its students. It gives more priority and preference to the practical and technical skills as well, which in result brings the ability for its students to face any kind of a work environment confidently. So I actually feel lucky to be a part of it, and I'm actually proud of it too.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much for that insight, Vishnie. I think that's really helpful.
Thank you.
So just a reminder to everyone to add your questions into the Q&A section. All right, so moving on, over to you now, Alan.
Thanks, Alison. And it's nice to hear that students are very keen about what the move from joining at Sri Lanka and then moving on to come over and visit us here in Sydney and finish their studies. So the Faculty of Engineering and IT in UTS is really focusing on jobs of the future. And there's research out there that tells us that 50% of the jobs in 2030 and beyond may not even exist now. And if we look at that particular slide, we'll see that, yeah, a lot of those jobs probably exist, but they will change. They will be much, much different in 10 years' time. And that's what we do in our engineering degree and our IT degrees, is we are educating our students with that domain area knowledge, but far, far more, so that they will be able to take up one of those jobs in the future, because we're teaching students to be adaptable. Next. So in our IT space, we have 3 undergraduate programs that are common and have been around for a few years, and that's our Bachelor of Computer Science Honours, which is a 4-year full-time program and has an embedded honours program in the last year. We have a Bachelor of Science in IT, which is our standard IT degree and a 3-year full-time program, and a Bachelor of Science in Games Development, which is also 3 years. And all those 3 programs have a very common set of core subjects, so that if I got into the computer science honours, for example, and found it was too technical, I could move easily to the Bachelor of Science in IT, or I could go the other way. The science in IT is not too technical or not too theoretical, and I want to go to the computer science. You can undertake our standard Bachelor of Science in IT program with an additional year of an internship program and get a second qualification, which is a diploma in IT professional practice. And so that makes that a 4-year full-time program, 3 years of study, of which you've obviously done 1 in Sri Lanka, 2 years in Sydney, and another year in Sydney, or doing an internship program. And we have people within our faculty who help in the internship space, and the university also has a careers service that can help in that internship space. And then starting this year, we have a new program, which is an information systems degree, 3 years full time. It also has a lot of commonality in its core program with the other 3 programs I've mentioned, and brand new, and it's more about complex systems. And if you think of technology, you have the technology layer within an organization, and sitting above that, you have the systems layer. So the systems are much bigger than the technology, and that's probably the best way to word that. So it's not technical as such, but it relies on the technology to work at the systems level. And our Bachelor of Science in IT program and our Bachelor of Information Systems program can be combined with a Bachelor of Business and be done in 4 years. And there are several other programs that you can combine with the Bachelor of Science in IT. And there's a little web address down there that you could get more information about those courses. And here's just the majors that we have in our computer science program and our Bachelor of Science in IT. And as you can see, there is similarity. So all the majors in the Bachelor of Science in IT are actually in the computer science degree. However, the data analytics major has some differences because it also includes the artificial intelligence. And we also have some additional majors in mathematics, okay, and operations research and statistics, and a new one in quantum computing that started this year. And there's the majors. This is our engineering degree, so 4 years full-time, accredited by Engineers Australia and the Washington Accord. And the Washington Accord means your engineering degree is accredited in about 180 countries globally. It also has a mix of core subjects, field of practice, which is the major, and some honours work and work integrated learning. So even in a standard engineering degree, you need 12 weeks worth of work experience to meet the Engineers Australia Washington Accord requirements. And you can see here the majors, fairly typical of an engineering program. You've got the civil areas, you've got biomedical, you've got electrical and mechanical, software and data. And if you think of data, you're thinking about the infrastructure to capture all that global big data, whereas the software might be how you're going to access all that data. And connections that count. So as we talked about jobs of the future, we have about 1,000 industry partners that help us in our programs to ensure that they are relevant to industry and the students are getting a relevant education, and they're helping us pitch these programs for those jobs of the future. We are industry focused, which aligns with those industry partners, and we have our internships and, as we mentioned earlier, accredited programs with both Engineers Australia and the Australian Computer Society. We also undertake active collaborative blended learning, and I think you heard that from Sri Lanka at the start. Laboratory and studio learning approaches where you work on open-ended problems. It may be a number of little problems throughout a teaching session, or it could be one problem throughout the whole teaching session. And there's lots of collaborative learning spaces and a collaborative experience on our campus. And some of our studio subjects, you actually work on industry problems, and those industry partners come in and mentor our students. And here's just some images from around our building in Sydney. We've got a big collaborative lecture theatre in the bottom right-hand corner. And then next to that, we have a pod in a classroom, a collaborative interactive classroom, which has a pod. And then if you look up in the top right-hand corner, that technology is mirrored in open spaces around the building that students can book and work on group assessment items. We have a learning precinct which is open 24/7, which provides lots of resources. We have a software development studio where all the walls are actually whiteboards, so you can leave your work up there. And we have some of our games people, interactive media people working in the top left-hand corner. And just some facilities. We have new facilities, Tech Lab, where lots of the civil engineering research happens. We have a data arena, 360-degree interactive visual communication, and a proto space area where you can develop new things from a manufacturing. And students may work in those areas doing their capstone or their honours project. Internships we've spoken about, but it's practice and theory together, and it's work integrated learning. So it's not just about the experience, it's putting that work experience back to your studies, and you come out from a degree with an internship. 12 months work experience and a degree is much better than a little bit of 12 weeks. So it's really a good thing if you can do the internship program. Here's a shot of some of our partners. As you see, national, global companies, local companies in Sydney, Australia, so the national companies and state level companies in that snapshot there. So we have many partners across many different industries and at many different levels. And this is what we're talking about, future skills, about digital literacy, problem solving, cross-disciplinary capability, interpersonal skills, and they all go on top of your engineering degree in whichever discipline or your IT degree in whatever discipline. And this is one of those things. These are what's needed for jobs of the future, plus your actual domain knowledge. Some of our rankings, I'm just going to point you to one. We're number 1 in Australia for computer science and engineering and 29th globally. And the other thing about these rankings is that they're pretty consistent across the different scales. And 2 of our students worked in a studio subject, formulated an idea called the Tech Gym for people recovering from strokes. And they were then able to take that idea off to a global entrepreneur challenge at Virginia Tech in the United States. And what a fantastic experience for students to be able to take work they've developed in a subject and take it to the global scale. So I think that's it for me. So thanks for listening. And I think I'm handing it back to Alison.
Yes, Yes, you are. Thank you so much for that, Alan. Very informative. Right, I'd like to pass over now to Stephanie to talk about the virtual tour experience.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. I'm going to talk a little bit about a student project. So you've heard a little bit this morning how UTS degrees and how we design the student experience really emphasize technical and practical experience. So the UTS Software Development Studio is a really good example of students learning in practice. So it's a teaching and learning environment that's designed to replicate a real world experience. So students work on industry-driven software development projects in a space that is designed to imitate a real software development studio. Now, recently, our team, the international team in the Faculty of Engineering and IT, we worked with a group of students to develop a virtual or augmented reality app to promote UTS. Now, you can see on the screen here, two groups of students. That's because the first group developed this app, and then we brought on a second group of students to work on refining it. So it was really a wonderful experience to work with these students in this practical project. Now, I'm going to give you a little demo of the app that they worked on. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. All right, so hopefully everyone can see my screen here, and you can see a little UTS Discover icon, which I'm going to press. Now, this is the app developed entirely by students. Given the current COVID situation, you'll also see my kitchen a little bit, so I apologize for that. Okay, so those of you who are a little bit familiar with UTS will recognize the Faculty of Engineering and IT building, and you can see some icons over the top. Now these have different functions depending on what we want the user to see. So just to give you a very quick overview of these features, we have an introductory video to UTS. I won't watch the whole thing. We have a small snapshot of what the UTS campus is like, just highlighting a few key buildings. You can see the tower, new UTS Central, and the Faculty of Engineering and IT. And we also have a little overview of rankings. However, what we're really interested in today is the virtual tour of the building. So buckle up and we'll have a look at the Faculty of Engineering and IT. Now, the FEIT building, we refer to it actually as a living structure. It's a laboratory in itself. It has wireless sensors that monitor air temperature, air quality, noise, and dust particles. It has a central atrium that lets light into the building and maximizes the availability of natural light. And it's built to promote collaboration and exchange between staff and students. It's also a very environmentally friendly building. So it actually produces 20% of its own energy. And the way it does this is from a lot of features on its roof. So here we are up at the top of the building that you just saw. So you can see several of the sustainability features here. We have a rooftop turbine just over there. We have solar panels and concentrating troughs. And there are also water recycling facilities as well. So ducking back down into the lobby, and we'll have a look at the UTS data arena. Now, this is a 360-degree interactive data visualization facility. It has 40 meters of 3D screens, and its purpose is to immerse the viewer and help them simplify complex information. So users in this space can surround themselves in data to observe, explore, refine, improve, discover, learn. You can see as well a couple of people in the photos. These are the students who designed the app. All right, and now another quite unique lab we have in the Faculty of Engineering and IT is the Game Studio. Now this focuses on advancing the tools, techniques, and methods that will be used to build the next generation of games and related technologies. So when people think about game design, they think about games, of course, but these can include serious games, augmented and virtual reality, AI and data analytics in games, content generation, interactive storytelling, collaborative virtual environments, and even experimental game design. And if we think about the kind of lab that would normally come into our mind when we think engineering and IT, we can have a look at the mechanics design studio. Now, this is a state-of-the-art teaching and learning facility for mechanical and mechatronics engineering students. In this space, students can work on prototyping and manufacturing of their projects. They have access to high-end 3D printers and a carbon fusion laser cutter. They also have access to general workshop tools and equipment. It's really got a very diverse range of robotics equipment as well to demonstrate advanced manufacturing and high-level robot programming skills. If you have a look in the middle of this little maze here, you can actually see a robot. So students are working on the programming of that robot in this case. All right, now I want to take you to where it all began. This is the software development studio with some students very hard at work. Now, again, these are the students that developed the app that I'm using now. So as you can see, it resembles a real life software development studio. So students can write on the walls, map their processes, log actions taken, and prioritize the tasks that are needed to complete their project. So we head back out into the foyer, and I'm actually going to take you out of the engineering and IT building, and we'll have a little look at some other places on campus. This is the Alumni Green. It's right in the middle of the campus, and it creates a central meeting place for the university community. Now, here in the corner, you can see the Faculty of Engineering and IT. Right next to it is the brand new UTS Central. And over here, we have the science building as well. So this space, this Alumni Green, it connects facilities across the campus, both physically and visually. And it's a convenient conduit for students who are traveling between buildings, and also provides quite a welcoming space at the center of the campus. All right, now back into some labs. Here we are in UTS Protospace, which is a 900 square meter advanced manufacturing facility or 3D printing facility. It provides cutting edge 3D technologies, software, and lots of technological expertise. It has a focus on rapid prototyping, as well as education, research, and development. It contains Australia's largest collection of 3D printing technologies. So this is a great place for students to discover industry standard tools and technologies, and they can also be involved in really exciting multidisciplinary projects. So this can include collaborations with students from design and architecture, and also science. Okay. Now, I mentioned UTS Central. This is the new student hub at the heart of the campus. It's got quite a striking and unique design, which include, as you can see, a curved exterior and twisted tower, a glass facade, innovative sun shading, and pioneering sustainability features. It also has quite a unique staircase, which I'll show you now. So here we are inside the new building, and you can see up to the side here a staircase. Now, it's referred to as the double helix staircase. Now, I'll try not to go too fast in case anyone gets motion sickness. But as you look up, you can see the staircase spiraling up towards the higher floors. Now, the purpose of this design was to resemble a DNA molecule, the double helix molecule. It's made from steel and curved glass and visible from the inside and outside of the building. You can see the engineering building just there, actually. It's a design feature, but it's also a reminder of breakthroughs in science and technology that can transform our world. Now, another key space in this new building are the student study spaces. So these can include group tables, general access computers, beanbag pods, and lounges, all with charge points. They're all located around the perimeter of the building, so they give beautiful views over the surrounding area. All right, so these are the spaces that we have featured in our app. So I'll just head back and I might stop sharing my screen. So yes, this app is in the final stages to be deployed on the Google Play and App Store. So it'll actually be very soon available for download for you to use to learn more about UTS and its facilities, and also share with others. Yes, so that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Very, very interesting. So just a reminder, everyone, again, to add your questions to the Q&A section. I would now like to pass over to Damith. Over to you, Damith.
Thanks, Alison. Hope I'm coming loud and clear. Just it's a pleasure to be with you all and talk to you as an ex-student of UTS long ago. I actually joined UTS around 2003, and I'm a bit actually envious of you guys because some of the fantastic buildings were just weren't there when I joined in. So you guys are very lucky. And my choice of UTS was actually accidental. I was looking for a place to do my PhD, and by way of luck and fortune that I had, I somehow actually was directed to apply to UTS, and I also had some offers from a number of different places, including US and Europe. And one of the reasons I chose Australia to do my PhD was when I was growing up. I think some of you guys could also relate to this, having Vegemite and kind of the feeling that I had about Australia. It's a laid-back country. Was something that really piqued my interest to come to Australia to do my PhD rather than going to the US or the Europe. And certainly I wasn't disappointed. When I came to Sydney, it was quite amazing. I still could remember the first time when I got off from Sydney Airport. That was the first time I was traveling overseas, and it was such a beautiful kind of feeling, and I still cherish that memory. I lived in Sydney for about 14 years before moving to Canberra, where I am now. And for anything else, just the Sydney experience is something that, that you actually want to come to Australia to do your research or to do your higher studies. And then within UTS, it was really a lovely community kind of vibe. We with some really fantastic friends. There's so many clubs and things that you can join apart from your education. In fact, I actually, took part in a number of different clubs. And also, this is the fun part, I actually managed to act in a Sri Lankan teledrama. Probably some of you guys actually a bit young to see this. I did around 2004, one of the, I think that at the time was one of the popular teledramas in Sri Lanka. And I had a reasonably decent part in that as well. So this is while I'm taking my studies at UTS and through the connections that I made. So there's a vibrant multicultural scene in Sydney. And the same kind of echoes in the UTS as well. So you wouldn't feel, isolated. It's a really nice kind of vibe. People coming from different parts of the world interacting, and there's also obviously a huge Sri Lankan community as well. So, look, if you're considering different places of studying, Sydney is some place that I would highly recommend, and obviously UTS is kind of microcosm of that. And so for those reasons, I cherish my UTS experience to this date. Speaking of experience, I would also like to talk about the research experience. In fact, why I joined UTS was for a specific reason. And if some of you are thinking about robotics specifically, UTS actually hosts one of the largest robotics research groups in the world, and some of the top professors actually work there. And this is where I'm proud about my Sri Lankan heritage. Professor Damith Herath is one of the leading robotics researchers in the world. He's actually instrumental in contributing to some of the significant research work related to self-driving cars and robotics navigation and mapping. So I was one of the first students to actually join with him during 2003 when the Center for Autonomous Systems was launched. And that center actually grew and grew and grew, and it's today a really large center within the UTS. So if you're thinking specifically about robotics, I would highly recommend joining UTS. It's one of those few places in the world that actually you could work with some of the top-notch people. And it's not just that. I think some of the other speakers also mentioned earlier that UTS actually actively collaborate with industry partners, so you can build up these beautiful connections with a lot of other people. And in fact, my research career since joining UTS has blossomed in different ways because of the connections that I made at UTS. Without talking too much about the research experience, from a personal point of view, I'd like to give a couple of tips for budding, engineers, researchers, and future makers. And personally, I am very passionate about engineering, but at the same time, I love my arts. In fact, like I said, I have acted in teledrama in Sri Lanka some time back, and also, one of my first love was art. And so, one of the key things about success is to dream big. Think about what you want to achieve. Your success is limited by what you can dream. So when I started engineering, I still had the passion for art. So over the years, I actually built a career on both robotics and art. So I do a lot of work with artists and various other kinds of people in different fields. And this is why it's really important that you need to be open to new challenging ideas, right? So don't just kind of focus on a particular thing. When you come to Sydney, interact with a number of people, many people, different backgrounds, and kind of open up your scope, right? And from that, it's really important that you build long-term connections. Find a good mentor to help you, right? So when you come to Australia, when you start your journey at UTS, make sure that you don't really stick with just your close friends or close mates, as we say it in Australia, or to the local community, but just expand and explore other possibilities. So I do wish you all the best, and I'll hang around for a while. If you got any questions, I'm happy to answer them as well.
Thank you so much, Damith. I found that very inspirational, so I hope our audience did too. Thank you very much. I'd like to pass over now to you, Jasmine.
Thanks, Alison. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Jasmine. I look after the Diploma of Engineering and the Diploma of IT programs at Insearch. It is my pleasure to share with you practical information on the first steps to the University of Technology, Sydney. In the Diploma of Engineering, there are 8 subjects to complete. Now, for these 8 subjects, students will receive 48 credit points towards their engineering degree at UTS. These 48 credit points are equivalent to 1 year of study at UTS. In the second year of the degree, students can specialize in a number of exciting majors, such as civil engineering, electrical engineering, and so on and so forth. In the next slide, you can see all the majors that we offer and students have the opportunity to specialize in. I can share with you that at the moment at Insearch, with the Diploma of Engineering, the most popular major is the civil engineering, followed by the mechanical and electrical. Now, by saying that, I'd like to also share with you the data engineering, electronic engineering, software engineering are also become very popular among the international students. For the Diploma of IT, students are also have to complete 8 subjects. And these 8 subjects again are equivalent to 48 credit points or 1 year of study at UTS. Students can complete all these 8 subjects within 2 semesters. Now, students can articulate to UTS with a number of degrees that they can choose from. The main one is the Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. They can also do a combined degree with Bachelor of Business combined with Bachelor of Science in IT. Or as Alan has mentioned earlier, students can also articulate to the Bachelor of Games Development or the Bachelor of Computing Science. Now, next, I'd like to share with you why engineering and information technology at UTS. First of all, the courses we have at Insearch and UTS are very practice-based. We integrate the theory with the practice or hands-on. And UTS courses are very career-focused. The internship program could actually give students opportunity to have work experience before they start going into, or before they start their career path. Now, our campus are specially designed for engineering and IT students. I'm sure you have seen that the very impressive campus tour from Stephanie. Now, next, to articulate to UTS from the Diploma of Engineering or the Diploma of IT, it is very straightforward and achievable. International students just need to have no more than 2 subject failure to guarantee a place at UTS. And students can go to UTS either in the spring or the autumn sessions. Now, I can say to you that Insearch diploma programs are the best pathway courses to UTS. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for that, Jasmine. So just a final reminder, just get any last questions in because we're going to start our Q&A session now. I have seen a couple of questions coming in around scholarships. So perhaps I can just start by answering those questions. We certainly do have scholarships. We have a range of scholarships. Each semester we have a couple of full fee scholarships, some 50% and then some 25%. So there is a range of scholarships. The other thing that we have that is really excellent as a pathway to UTS is that anybody that starts on our Sri Lanka pathway is able to get a scholarship once they go to Australia for the final 2 years. So they do the course with us, and then after that they transfer. Let's say they do a year, their first year in IT with us, and then they transfer to Sydney. They have 2 years left in IT. For each of those 2 years, they would get a 7,000 Australian dollar scholarship. So a $7,000 reduction off the tuition fee for year 2 and year 3. And if it was engineering, it would be year 4. Okay, let's just have a look at some other questions. So I have a question here that is, what are the pre-requirements for the engineering diploma in Colombo? So Jasmine, could I just pass that question to you, please? It's, what are the requirements for the engineering diploma in Colombo? I think it's the entry requirements, I think it might be.
Yeah, for engineering, students need to have the academic qualification equivalent to our year 12, which is the HSC, with science such as physics and mathematics.
So thank you. And just to add to that, the students, as far as meeting the English entry requirements as well for all of our courses, an O-level or equivalent grade C or above, as well as the normal requirements for IELTS and TOEFL and other English requirements there. So hopefully that answers that question. But we can, what I'm going to do is for all of the participants today, we will also send out our brochure, which has all of that information in. It covers scholarships, it covers entry requirements, and a little bit of information about the courses as well. It's not a big brochure, so that it will be easy to attach. All right. Okay, there's another question that's come in that says, would you be able to confirm if the Masters of Business Analytics Extension has a November intake? So perhaps, Alan, if I could ask you to address that question, please. The question again is, does the Masters of Business Analytics Extension have a November intake?
I don't think so. I'm going to look up the handbook right now and check that out, but I'm of the opinion it has one intake a year, but I can certainly stand corrected. It's run out of the business faculty. It's not run out of the engineering and IT faculty. So Master of Business Analytics Extension. It doesn't really say its intakes in the handbook, but I do have a feeling it's a once a year program, which might be slightly different given the global circumstances we're all facing. but it is an online, there's a lot of online content in there. But yeah, I can certainly chase that up and come back to that particular person.
Well, all of these, we'll have a copy of all of these questions. So thanks, Alan. I think that's the way to go. If I can just stay with you for a moment, because I have a question that asks, in which year do the internships start for engineering students?
Okay, so normally our internship students would have done approximately 3 semesters of their engineering degree. So that would be at the end, the second teaching session in the second year of the program, or it could be the first session of the third year. And then the second internship, because in the engineering program, it's a 12-month internship done as 2 6-month internships. And the second internship is normally done around the last semester of the 4th year or that first semester of the 5th year, because it does make it the 5-year program with the additional year for the diploma.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan. There's another question that is asking, am I able to get into UTS? I'm assuming we're talking about UTS Sri Lanka without IELTS. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have an English O-level, grade C or above, you will be able to meet the English requirement to enter UTS Sri Lanka. There's another question as to whether there are full scholarships available. We do have a couple of full scholarships available each semester, so they're, being full scholarships, they are quite competitive. And another question, it says, in my past studies, English has been my medium. Do I need IELTS? So just going back to the previous answer I mentioned, you would still have to show us an O-level grade C or above to meet the English requirement. Okay, so not sure if there are any more questions. I just encourage you to continue typing them in. Okay, so the question is, how do I get a full scholarship? So perhaps I can just run through what the requirements are, but as I say, because we only have 1 or 2, that they are actually very competitive, but the eligibility requirements for a full scholarship for diploma would be 2 A's and 1 B in A levels. But once again, if we had 10 people applying, we then have to, we can't give it to 10 people. So obviously it is competitive, but as a minimum, that's what you would need to achieve to have a full tuition scholarship. So perhaps it's good just to mention, for a 50% fee scholarship, it would be, for diploma, it would be 1 A and 2 B's in A levels. And for a 25% fee scholarship, it would be 3 B's in A level. That will be in, we will send this small brochure out to you, and you'll have all of that information to hand. Okay, give you a couple of seconds more. I think that may be it for the moment. What we can do is we can come back right at the end. We'll have a few more minutes session. If you do think of anything, just you can ask questions, to general questions or to specific presenters. So I think probably at this stage, we may well be ready to move on to the next area and just talk a little bit more about UTS Sri Lanka and why it is such a great option. So this webinar has provided us with a great overview of the educational opportunities that await students at the University of Technology, Sydney. However, with borders closed due to the current global situation, this is absolutely the right time to start your degree studies here with us in Colombo. our course fee for the Diploma of Engineering is 800,000 Sri Lankan rupees, which is around 6,600 Australian dollars. And the Diploma of IT is 750,000 Sri Lankan rupees, which is around 6,250 Australian dollars. So I did mention to you a little bit about the scholarships in the question and answer time, but we do have a very good incentive available to you today, and part of that is to do with the scholarship. So what we're providing today is that for all students who apply, enroll, and pay their deposit within 7 days of this webinar, we will guarantee them a 25% scholarship, which, so we're not looking for any mark, we're just looking that you meet the requirements. This is a special consideration in view of the seminar. We're just asking that you meet the requirements for entry to our course, and we will give you a guaranteed 25% scholarship, and we will waive the registration fee. So you would, to get that, you would need to apply, enroll, and pay the deposit within 7 days of this webinar. Now, this will be valid for semester 2 or semester 3. So as I've mentioned in the question and answer section as well, that all students who take this pathway to UTS also receive 7,000 Australian dollars off the cost of the balance of their tuition fees for their final 2 or 3 years once they get to Sydney. So it's, you know, it's a fantastic opportunity. It really helps with, you know, saving costs. And of course, when you start everything in Sri Lanka, you're very, very used to what the program is, what it's going to be. So the transition when you move across to Sydney is incredibly smooth. So I would urge you that if you are a student here today in this webinar, that you really consider taking action quickly. And if you are an agent here, call your students to take action, because this is a great opportunity. It's a guaranteed 25% scholarship, and then you have that additional $7,000 per year off the cost of the balance of the tuition fees once you're in Sydney. Our semester 2 starts on the 29th of June, and our semester 3 starts on the 12th of October. So I guess my point to you would be that you may need to delay your travel to Australia, but you don't need to delay your education. And so we'll be very happy to talk to you later. You hopefully will have some questions, even if it's not within this webinar. We're very happy. We'll provide you with contact details as well to find out more about things. Okay, I've just seen a few more. Sorry, if I can just go back and see a couple more questions coming in. So the questions are relating to the difference between going to Sydney and going to Sri Lanka. So obviously, apart from, you know, the campus is in Sydney, and that's where people are aspiring to. Sri Lanka's a lot smaller, but we only have the first year. So the idea is that people will come and do the first year, where there's a significant cost saving, but to complete the degree, students will then have to transfer across to Australia. So I guess you've got to have a sort of consideration of that in your fees and your ability to transfer and continue your studies in Australia. So I've got a few more questions coming in that are relating to scholarships and asking whether scholarships, just asking what about the requirements for scholarships. So I think we'll send that information out to you, so you'll have all of that. And then there are some questions asking about whether, if you are from a particular country, that's not Sri Lanka, can you apply for a scholarship? The answer would be yes, but it will still be it will still be a competitive pool. So I can see a question coming in saying, I've got these high grades and can I have a scholarship? You'd have to apply in the normal way, but if you've got really good grades, then you stand a very good chance. Also, another question coming in that says, does the Sri Lanka campus have remote learning for international students? So as Sankalpa, our engineering lecturer mentioned at the beginning, we were in a situation like the rest of the world where we were able to, because Sydney could get themselves organized to get online really quickly, they got us online, and we are in week 7 now of online studies. So, I mean, our normal mode is face-to-face, like many other countries. And we're really hopeful that, well, our next semester starts 29th of June, so I really anticipate that we'll be back to face-to-face mode. But one thing that's been fantastic is that it's really given all of us such a lot of new skills, which means that there are things that make it easier. If the teacher, even when you are back on a face-to-face basis, the teacher can jump online and just speak to a group of students. But certainly the option for online is there now that it's been set up. But our preferred method of teaching in Sri Lanka is definitely face-to-face. So, as soon as we're able to, we're all missing each other as well, but as soon as we're able to, we'll be back on the campus. But we've got all of these additional skills to support us now, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay. Okay, I think that's probably it for the moment on the questions. So I guess a couple of things just to finish off. In summary, I would really like to thank all the presenters, all the people behind the scenes here today, but especially I'd like to thank you, the audience, for your time. I'm very well aware that everybody's doing Zoom and it can be a little bit of an overload, but thank you so much for taking your time out to spend it with us. We have on the screen contact details, so my contact details on the screen, and we will be forwarding to all webinar participants the PowerPoints and the brochure, and we will be following up and making sure that we are able to answer any questions that perhaps we didn't get the chance to get answered today. Also, we appreciate that for those of you interested, there'll be other people interested in other areas of study offered at UTS. I mean, this is particularly on engineering and IT, but it's a very big university. It offers a lot of different courses. So we've got some really exciting events coming up, virtual events in the future, which we'd love you to also jump online and attend with us. And we'll be adding these to our events webpage, and you'll be able to find out more and also register for those events. What we'll do is we'll keep our question and answer session open for another 5 minutes. So if you have any more questions or any for presenters here today, then please just pop them up there. Okay, let me just, okay, I think, yeah, I think I had there was a question here that was just asking about admissions and everything. If you have a preferred and trusted agent, please feel free to use the agent. They have a lot of knowledge, particularly if you're not coming from, from Sri Lanka, if you're coming from India or Nepal or somewhere. But even if you're coming from Sri Lanka, those people are incredibly helpful, being able to then help you in the next stage of the process to get to Australia. So, we work very, very closely with our channel partners, and they're very, very important in making sure that the student gets the right information at the right time. All right, so other than that, thank you so much for joining and stay safe. Thank you.